Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about 4 ways to optimize sleep. Sleep is one of my favorite things in the world. I love a good night's sleep, and it's so important for our overall health and happiness. And being in the body is just a much better experience when we wake up rested every day. So the 4 most effective techniques that I've found, there are many techniques, but these are the 4 that I found to be most beneficial for me. The first one is to be mindful of my caffeine intake. I've gone through periods of my life where I consumed very high quantities of caffeine, and I've gone through periods of my life where I abstained entirely from caffeine. And I find that even when I go to sleep at night, even if I'm able to get to sleep and stay asleep through the whole night, I do not wake up feeling rested if I'm drinking coffee, for example. I just can't. Even 1 or 2 coffees in a morning will affect my quality of sleep, and the next day I wake up feeling exhausted. So I totally abstain from coffee at this point, and I take very low doses of caffeine from sources like tea and chocolate. And then I also set a caffeine curfew, so I don't have any of those things after 2 o'clock. And that has been very helpful because caffeine really stays in the system for a long time. And it's really beneficial to give the body that time to process that caffeine many hours before going to bed. The second thing that's been very beneficial for me is to have routine, to go to bed at the same time every night. Not midnight one night, 10 o'clock the next, the same time. And some studies have shown that that's even more important than the overall amount of sleep you get or the time that you go to sleep. It's just the fact that it's consistent. If you go to sleep every day at midnight or you go to sleep every day at 9 o'clock, the consistency is so important to your overall quality of sleep because you're trying to get the body's hormonal system in a cycle, a repeated cycle. And you also want to get that cycle as close as possible to be in alignment with the natural cycles of the earth. And so that brings me to the third thing on my list, and that is light hygiene. Light hygiene has changed my life completely. For those of you who don't know, there's a whole spectrum of colors in the light spectrum, and one of them is blue light. Now, blue light is how the body naturally determines whether or not it's night or day. And so if you're exposed to blue light, the body starts to produce daytime hormones like cortisol. If you're not exposed to blue light, the body starts to produce nighttime hormones like melanin, right? And so in the evening, what do we do in our modern world? We stay up all night with the lights on, staring into a computer screen, right? It's like staring into the sun all day long. The body believes it's daytime. And then we turn it all off, we try to go to sleep, and we're restless, and we wake up during the night. Spending an hour or so before going to bed with the lights down low and reducing your exposure to blue light with various blue light blockers on your computer and various light bulbs that don't have blue light in them. This is huge. This is one of the most powerful things I've ever done for my health. And it's hard. It's hard because in our modern world, we're just inundated with electric lighting systems. And you don't even really notice how prevalent they are until you start trying to avoid them every night. But if you can set up a lifestyle, set up a sleep sanctuary, set up a routine that allows you to reduce your exposure to light, especially blue light in the evening, this will have profound impacts on your quality of sleep. And on the flip side of that, when you wake up in the morning to get those daylight hormones going, go outside for a few minutes. Expose yourself to the sun. Tell the body that it's daytime. Maybe try that before getting a cup of coffee. Just go and spend 5 minutes feeling the sun on your face. Obviously, it's not always possible. Maybe it's raining. But if it's possible, that too is so beneficial for getting you in this healthy cycle with nature, getting you in this healthy cycle with your own hormonal systems. It's so beneficial. And the fourth beneficial thing that I found for sleep is the sleep cycle. So there's a whole cycle that's going on physiologically while you sleep. I'm not going to get into the details of what that is, but just know that the cycle is somewhere around 90 minutes long. And if you wake up in the middle of a cycle, you're not going to wake up feeling rested. So the cycle might be a little shorter for you, it might be a little bit longer. For me, it's right about 90 minutes, feels about right. And I take that into consideration when I plan out my mornings and my schedule. So the old idea of 8 hours of sleep a night, well, that's not even divisible by 90 minutes, right? If you set an alarm for 8 hours, well, you're waking up in the middle of a sleep cycle, right? So just an experiment, if you go to sleep for 8 hours every night, try setting your alarm for 7.5 hours. See how you feel. It may be counterintuitive. You might think, oh, that 30 minutes extra of sleep, it really helps. Maybe not. Maybe you'll wake up feeling more rested with 7.5 hours of sleep than you would with 8 hours. Yeah? Because you're waking up in between cycles when your body is ready to wake up. And ideally, this is my favorite thing to do, is to not set an alarm at all and let my body wake up when it's ready to wake up. Obviously, that's hard to do in our world these days, but the times in my life where I've had that blessing, where I've gone to sleep with the sun and I've allowed my body to wake up with the sun, when it's ready to wake up, that feels so good. It feels so good. That is the best sleep you'll ever get. So experiment, a lot of people neglect their sleep. Maybe you have a good diet. Maybe you have a good exercise program. But in our culture, we often underappreciate the power of sleep. So just try some of these techniques. Try some other techniques. If you want to dig deeper, there's a book I recommend called Sleep Smarter by Shawn Stevenson. That book has helped me a lot. And once again, just to repeat, the 4 things that I have really benefited from is having a mindful relationship with my caffeine intake, having routine bedtime, practicing light hygiene and reducing the lights in the evening before I go to bed, and waking up in between sleep cycles, which are usually about 90 minutes. If you've experimented with any of these, or you go out and experiment with any of these, let me know how your experience was and leave a comment below. I hope this video helped me to make it. Thank you very much.